Welcome to Secrets from the Saddle podcast. I'm Sylvie, your host, fellow cyclist, bike club founder, cycling coach, bike race junkie, just truly super passionate about cycling. My journey with cycling started 20 years ago when I opened a spin studio, started a women's race team, and founded a women's only cycling club called Cycle Fit Chicks. I'm super thrilled to reveal all aspects that make the world of cycling operate. I'm so excited to be able to bring you interesting people from around the world, pro cyclists, recreational cyclists, coaches, event organizers, bike shop owners, everything and everyone you need to know or ever wondered about when it comes to cycling. I know you'll enjoy this episode. Have you recently got into cycling and wondering, what should I eat while I'm out for a ride to sustain energy? Or are you a seasoned cyclist and would love to get away from all the sugary snacks that are on the market? Well, I have you covered. I've been looking for better whole food alternatives for cycling snacks to bring with me on short and long rides. I've been researching and trying different recipes, especially for the best, yummiest, and easiest snacks you can create at home. Download my first edition of Cycling Snacks today at www.askcoachsylvie.ca. Tested and kid approved. Now enjoy the episode. All right, welcome back to another episode of Secrets from the Saddle, all things cycling podcast with your host, Sylvie Dow. And I have a new entrepreneur, Alex Tractor. That's right, Tractor. And I was just like, easy to remember. He just opened a bike shop in Vars called House of Bikes. I absolutely love it. And I just found him on Instagram or Facebook, like, you know, they're everywhere, and you go down a rabbit hole and you find somebody interesting. And so I just want to welcome Alex to the podcast. Welcome.
Yeah. Hey, Sylvie. Thanks for having me on. This is pretty exciting.
I know. Hey, and also I learned that Alex used to be a podcaster as well. So I always love getting started with the question, how did you get into cycling and how did it lead you to decide to open up a bike shop?
Yeah, right on. Well, it started with motorcycles way back in the day. I would say in 2008, I got on two wheels and kind of got hooked on that and rode a lot of sport bikes over the years. Got into the track and the racing, and then, I started, the more you get into a hobby, the more you think of ways to cross train. So then dirt biking for me became an outlet for cross training for track days. And next thing I know, I'm starting to cross train for my dirt biking with bicycles. And like I said earlier there, I fell in love with bikes the way motorcycles never had a chance, and rode a lot. Had to purchase bikes on the used marketplace. During COVID, it was kind of tough getting a bicycle, and you find just all sorts of bikes in all shapes and conditions, and some great ones and some not so great. And then I kind of got like an understanding of what's available out there and what I'm looking for as a cyclist who demands like a lot from his bikes. And, I want to show up for the ride. I want to be rested. I want to be well fed. I want to, put in a good time and see how I do. And I need the bike to do that for me. And that it gets hard to get that in the marketplace. So that's what we try to do with House of Bikes is we condition pre-owned bikes like as close as possible to brand new, lots of new chains and tires and just like holistic refurbishing for that like premium ready to ride experience. And that's what we offer. And anyways, it started as a hobby and it became a full-time business in no time quick. And here we are today, crossing paths. So how cool is that?
Yeah, that is super cool. I mean, that was pretty short. Now let's extend on that. So, but when did you decide to make it get a location? I mean, obviously you have mechanics back there. Like it must have taken a little bit longer than, a year or two to get this together because you have quite a shop. If you guys go Google them. I mean, search House of Bikes. I'm looking at his shop right now because he's sitting in it, but it's really nice. You got new bikes in there too, right?
we have some brand new bikes as well. Actually, we're sold out of the top stones at this point. We still have the demo that I rode last year that I reviewed and haven't even had time to put the content on YouTube. But we also have some brand new intense bikes. That's something we're super excited about, like top of the line mountain bikes from Intense. These things
Oh, okay.
they're like I'm from what the marketing says, it's gonna like redefine the way you ride. And so especially for from the world I come from dirt bikes, having this like perfect halfway option between a mountain bike and a dirt bike, you get an mountain bike and they're just kind of like crazy fast and I'm expecting crazy fun. So really I think we're going to keep one and then do a good demo and show people what these things are all about, because that's kind of what we're all about. So exciting times for sure.
Yeah, I can't even imagine somebody going super fast on a mountain bike through mountain bike trails. That just, like, I could just see all sorts of things happening to people who are not used to
Yeah.
that, and the control and being able, it's like hitting the throttle when you want to hit the brakes. And I've done that before with a tractor.
Yeah. No pun intended.
No, I know, no pun intended, but
Yeah.
that sent me through a
Yeah.
fence
Yeah.
that nearly
Yeah.
decapitated me. So that's what I mean. Like, it tore the cap off the front of the tractor, and like literally it was a barbed wire fence, and I'm not even
Yeah.
kidding. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's what I can see happening with
Well,
mountain bikes.
I hear you. I mean, the trails are kind of designed for mountain bikes, and then the actual dirt bike single tracks are designed for dirt bikes. So to
Mhm.
have an mountain bike riding on trails designed for slower speeds, if you wish,
Yeah.
is I guess that's how it gets intense. you know, I can't wait to try it. It's too early. It's
Oh yeah.
April. All the trails are closed. But just talking about it, I'm feeling like the adrenaline starting to go through my veins.
Yeah, no, well, I can see it coming from somebody who's used to dirt bikes. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you know, that's an acquired skill right there. But then putting it on a mountain bike is just
hmm
like somebody's gonna get
hmm
run over. I can see it now.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. It's it's fun for sure. And then back to the cross training thing, I got to the point where now I'm cross training for mountain biking, which is why I'm
okay.
into gravel bikes. And I tend to go as much as I can, but honestly, like most of the people I ride with are not as into hybrid bikes or gravel bikes the way I am. I think they're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
um and
You need to find
sure enough,
your peeps. You need to find your gravel peeps. Your
well,
gravel people.
the universe has this way of just like linking things up when you're on the right vibe. What can I say? Because right, we just met 24 hours ago, and sure
Yeah.
enough, there's the Canada Gravel Cup, right? Gravel
Yeah.
Cup Canada this weekend,
Yeah.
and you told me about it. I looked into it quickly. I kind of trust your expertise that this is a good thing to get into, and I went and I signed up. So we're doing the Gravel Cup on Saturday.
Woo! That's awesome. I mean, because it's going to put you in a place where there's more people, and then you'll find more people that you can ride with, and then you can, you can share the fact that you have a bike shop. Because you said that, I mean, it's so new. Like, how many people locally actually know that you are
Yeah.
out in east of Ottawa?
Yeah, so it's like it's been 1 year in the making. Like really, we just opened for
Yeah.
year two, and it's like House of Bikes. It's no false advertising. It literally started out of my house. I've always had like motorcycles in my living room every winter for storage. That's my idea of art, I guess, or living room decor. And then my friends say that's why you're not married, and I'm like, well, maybe that's
I
why.
was just gonna
Maybe
ask,
that is why I'm not married.
why do, what does a wife feel about
Yeah. So it just kind of, my dog puts up with it. I guess it comes with the territory.
all he needs is the
But
food and the water, and that's it?
yeah, so it started out of home, and we scaled up very, very quickly because I realized there's a demand for the product and for the service, and to have these like really great bikes ready to go. No, deposit today, you might get it next March type thing.
Yeah.
So we're putting in the work, and we're warranting the whole thing too. So we back up the fact that these bikes are legit and as legit as they can be. We put Shimano XTR chains, we put Maxxis tires. Like there's no expense spared whatsoever. And that's what we want to offer. And anyways, it grew so quickly that we obviously had to open up into a commercial space, and I incorporated the company last fall, and built up this shop over the winter with the photo studio. And so all that, you mentioned the podcasting earlier, all that experience from earlier life ventures that perhaps at the time I viewed as failures, if you wish, because like I spent all this time doing that podcast and all the production time, and then what did it lead to? It didn't bring in a penny. But uh, like sometimes you just need enough life experience, and then it clicks together, and then it's like, oh, that's how it all fits. And now like the studio space here is just more of the same ideas I had doing the podcast, except I can now apply it to something that sustains the lifestyle that I live, and that we want to promote with Team Orange. Like, House of Bikes is the bike dealership thing, and you can get a really nice bike here, you can trade in your bike, that's great. But I spend more of my time and like my creative juices and all that, because I have a bit of an artistic brain. Like I just want to promote Team Orange for the fact that riding bikes is awesome. Like it's
Oh
super fun.
yeah.
You
I
get
love
so
Team
fit,
Orange. I'm all
right?
about orange. Like,
Yes. We're in the right colors today.
yeah.
Um, honestly, it's more about that. I'd rather spend more time promoting that vision of spending more time outdoors, less so on computers, just getting the fresh air, getting the vitamin
Hmm.
D, helping out your immune system, the people you meet, and then it becomes a lifestyle. And then I find myself, I'm turning 40 this year. I find myself skipping stairs, like going up 2 stairs at a time, the way I haven't since I was 20. So I just want to promote this message too. And I know you promote fitness for women, especially women in their middle age. And I'm hitting middle age, and like to get stronger every year in your middle age, I don't know,
Hmm.
but I'm hooked on that. It's all I want to do, and it's all I want to help people do. So
Yeah, it's so true. Like there's always a good time, and that's now. But like the older we get, the more I think I don't think it is more important. So I want to go back to your
yeah,
podcast. What was the name of your
yeah.
podcast, and does it still live somewhere?
It still lives. If you go to the House of Bikes YouTube, it's under the 1 Hour In podcast playlist. It may be less prioritized in the feed, so you might have to scroll to the bottom, because there's all
Right,
my dirt
right.
bike stuff there and all my track day stuff from over the years. But yeah, no, like I got into podcasts as a listener in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I have discovered an incredible amount of wonderful people in the world who freely share the gifts of their minds and of their mindsets. And you
Mm-hmm.
absorb that, over thousands and thousands of kilometers of riding a bike, and just all of their, like, Ottawa, and you're from the area too. Ottawa's a very, like, this is the common way to do things here kind of city. And when you just absorb, like, so many hours of this is how you can be open-minded and achieve more, and reach your potential, and like eventually you gain the confidence to trust your gut that you got this. And like,
Mm-hmm.
if there's going to be a story behind House of Bikes, I wish it more to be that, and to like inspire people to move more, and have more fun and do something that's healthy, and also just help out with the not necessarily physical side of life, with the emotional stuff, with mental health. Like, what doesn't put you in a good mood than like an hour of exercise, right?
I know. I know. That's why,
So
like, I love working with women over 40 and, encouraging them that, cycling is just a great way to stay healthy and motivated and moving. And it's a great family thing. And yeah, so if they're on a bike and they're moving themselves towards cycling, I mean, that's just a bonus for
yeah,
me because I can add, like, 2 decades of experience to that one thing and make their, like, just, I mean, what cycling can do for, like, you can take you, it's so much better than running because you can explore so much more, like, and it's easier on your body. You can stay healthy, you can do it longer, and
yeah.
but let's get back to your bikes. So you
Mhm.
have a variety of new to used. So you
Yeah.
actively still go on and look for bikes that you can refurb and then sell,
Yeah,
correct?
so there's a whole bunch of ways, but that's a lot of the bulk of the labor, if you wish. We take
Yeah.
trade-ins as well. So we're a dealership, right? Like we're a bit different than a bike shop, where just like
Okay.
if you were to go to, one of the luxury brands car dealerships, you buy a certified pre-owned, it gives you, a certain level of reconditioning that's above and beyond what perhaps the other competitors offer. So that's like kind of that dealership experience that we try to provide. And so we take trade-ins. That's one way of getting inventory, and that's one way people can save tax on their bikes, just like, when you're trading a car at a car dealership.
Hmm.
And we go to auctions. We look at private sales, of course, and
Oh my
just,
gosh, auctions,
everywhere we
police
can get
auctions.
nice bikes. And well, yeah, but we so that's in the works. I can't talk about
I
it
know, I
yet, but
think you have to be approved to go in and like, all the salvaged stolen bikes that they get and things
yeah.
like that.
And I want to partner with, this is like such a fresh idea, but I look forward
Put
to
it out
approaching them.
there.
I want to partner with Project 529 for the registration of all the bikes, because a lot of my customers, they have their bikes stolen, and it breaks my heart. I'm happy to sell them a bike, but it breaks my heart that you had a bike that you love perhaps, and it got taken from you. So I just want to, whichever way we can contribute as part of this industry to prevent and reduce the spread of stolen bikes. Like, I'm all
Hmm.
for it. So, and especially because of the type of business we're in, right? Like, I think I almost owe it to the local cycling industry to be a leader in this space and do what I can to prevent that. So, anyways, just uh, just an idea for now, but definitely a
Yeah, no, but
priority.
that's great because so talk a little bit more about Project 529. What is it? I
From my
know like
understanding,
I've seen it. It's well, all I've seen locally is a page for people who have had their bikes stolen. You put it there
that's
and if anybody's seen it. Is that it?
I believe that's part of the concept, yes. And
Part of it,
so,
okay.
I think if there's a mass adoption of such a concept, it's going to make tracking of bikes a lot easier. And especially
Mm,
the market that we cater to, because we cater mid to high end bikes, right? And so
right.
it's different than the type of bike you buy at a department store, and you care for it a bit differently. And so I think our customers and this segment of the industry would care to, have that level of certainty
I like
that
it,
can be
yeah.
provided by partnering with an integrity service like Project 529. So I don't
Huh.
mean to speak out of turn. I haven't even approached them yet. This is like shower thought from last night.
You're putting it out
Like,
to the universe, Alex. This is good.
good. Yeah, things seem to work out if I do that. So here's hoping.
But I think they should be reaching out to all the bike shops, you know, and
Yeah.
how that could work, like putting a little bit of a license plate on each bike.
Mm.
Because it's not the high end bikes that are getting stolen anymore. It's those steel bikes as well.
Oh, it's anything, anything.
It's
I mean, I've
anything
seen
now, actually. But
I've seen
let me,
footage. Oh yeah, no, go
yeah,
ahead.
no. So let me ask you, where's the majority of your clients coming from? Have that found you that is it more
Yeah.
like Cumberland, Orleans, or
We, yeah,
bars?
more or less Orleans. I mean, I'm also
Yeah.
French, and for example, last fall we had a lot of fat bikes for sale, and I was advertising the French service, and sure enough, 15% of, maybe 20% of our inquiries were French. So we're definitely getting the east end of the market. But bikes are in high demand, and I think if you're
Hmm.
looking for something particular, and it's like clothing, it has to fit you. It can't just be the right type of bike. It also has to be the right size.
And color.
Especially
I know you
there's
can't get
levels.
too picky around colors. I'm like,
That's
because
it.
I was looking at your orange bikes. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, oh, there's none left in my size. Hmm.
Yes, we just have the large demo, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
Um,
my side is I'm probably typical to every other woman. or maybe mid-size male, but I'm like,
Y-
those are the
y-
first that go. It's just like size
Yeah,
8 shoes gone.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Well,
So,
that's awesome because that is true. The French Connection in
mhm,
Quebec, because maybe I saw you on like Facebook Marketplace because I was looking for bikes, gravel bikes, and kids' mountain bikes.
mhm,
And
mhm,
yeah, I came across, I think that's where I came across
yeah.
your. Now, you are close to La Rose Park.
Yeah, well, that's the awesome part. I live kind of close by, and the shop is like halfway between La Rose and where I live. So
Yeah.
it makes for a really convenient location for dropping off the bikes if they need maintenance or cleaning or something after a ride. Um, and yeah, I spent a lot of time at La Rose. I've become pretty familiar with the trail, and it's kind of like my little race circuit. I try to go like when there's less people there and see if I can beat my time, and that's what keeps me going.
Oh, fun. I have never been there. I've heard so many things about it, but there's also, so knowing that you were there, I also heard from friends that there's a place you can rent bikes. That's not you, is it?
It's not me. No. So the Mana Center is the place you're talking about. It's run
Okay.
by JS and Emmanuel. They're super nice, and yes, they have fat bike rentals. One of their fat bikes, at least one of their fat bikes last winter was from us, and yeah, they rent them out. They have some programs, and you can get your family out or the kids out. And then they also do a bit of a spiritual meditative type of aspect to the
Oh, okay.
outdoors and to the whole experience of being at La Rose. So yeah, they're definitely cool. So the Mana Center, and they also
Mana
have an
Center. So,
Instagram and Facebook.
yeah,
And
so I assume that that was probably at the entrance of
yeah, of
of the
P1.
park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it seems like you and I can learn a lot from each other because you may have all of the gravel experience I lack.
Ah,
And
I,
I,
I don't know. I just like, so my background comes from mountain biking 20 years ago. I started mountain biking, mountain bike racing, adventure racing, and then I gravitated over to road cycling to train for mountain biking. And then I just like 2005, I just went 100% road. So the thing about gravel is I just did my first gravel race last September. I mean, it's just it's like a nice hybrid between mountain and road
yeah.
where like cuz I live near Wakefield and there's tons of gravel all over this area. And I've always been curious about it because I
Yeah.
see so many of my friends on Strava out there and like some of the different routes and there's lots of lakes, so there's lots of roads around lakes and things like that. So, and I know you can't go on your road bike on, well, you
Mhm.
probably could on majority of them, but the less traveled ones aren't as hard packed. And but then you don't want to be slower because you're on your mountain bike. And so I just
Yeah.
never explored it because I didn't have like something with larger wheels. So
Yeah.
I actually got a refurbished Mount Bianchi mountain bike from Retro Rides. I don't know if you know those guys.
Retro. No, I haven't been with. I haven't checked them
You
out yet.
have to connect with them because
Okay.
Jason at Retro Rides, they're right on Sussex.
Okay.
Not Sussex, Spark Street.
Retro rides. Yeah.
And they refurbish a lot of steel bikes and they buy them as well. So
It,
I was in there and I interviewed him and I said, well, I'm looking for a gravel bike, but I can't afford like 4,000 bucks, right? And he's like, well, what if I could refurbish like a mountain bike for you as a gravel bike? And I'm like, he goes, I think I have something your size. I'm like, okay. I go,
yeah.
and how long would it take? He's like, oh, I could get to you next week. I was like, okay. Okay. So,
Sounds appealing.
yeah. So it is obviously heavier. But it's like smooth. It's got bigger
Hmm.
wheels on it, bigger
Hmm.
tires. It's got drop bar shifters, which I kind of
How
like.
come? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like,
What's a gravel bike?
pardon?
I mean, it's a gravel bike.
Yeah. So, I mean, apart from it being a little on the heavier side, I mean, it rides well and it rides kind of like a mountain bike, right? So I
Yeah,
can like just hammer it on the
yeah,
downhills and not feel like, feel super comfortable. Um, but you always want something a little bit lighter, blah blah blah. Like,
yeah,
and I'm totally cool with the V brakes because they're easy to take off. I don't have to worry about, what if I bend them or you know.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
So,
there's some pros and cons for sure, and I
and
I
I
wonder if you'd
always,
agree with this, but even an old bike, if it's well tuned up, it's gonna
yeah,
ride even better than a brand new bike that's just completely out of tune. Like if it's not well indexed or something's
yeah,
not well adjusted, you may as well just ride the well adjusted machine.
yeah. So, so yeah, and I always get a compliment. Like everybody's, oh my God, look at that old Bianchi. It just amazes me. I'm like, yeah, yeah,
It's
I
funny you say
guess.
Bianchi too. Just last night, I'm out with my buddy Omar, who just posted this morning, or yeah, this morning of his old Bianchi steel hybrid gravel bike.
Yeah,
Like I just rode with him last night. And it's not exactly common. Sure enough, you're mentioning it today. So
yeah, yeah. So it's totally refurbished and yeah, and I was super happy with it. So, but
yeah,
you have to check them out because they're very like on the same line as you. They don't
that's
bring in
awesome.
new bikes, but they like you should go there. They have like a coffee shop and they have all these old bikes that they've redone, like towny
Oh, that's
bikes,
cool.
like road bikes, like mountain bikes, like, and
Yeah,
it's really really cool to go see. And a lot of people are getting back into them.
yeah.
So yeah.
It's cool to see the size of the bike industry locally, and it's just only expanding, and there's only more interest. Even after COVID, I think people that at least half the people that got into it during COVID are probably going to stick around because what's not to love,
Yeah, I mean, it is true because a lot of people who were not cyclists became cyclists, and now
right?
it's either they gravitated to it or they're letting go of their bikes now because they're just never used
Mm,
it, could use the money,
yeah.
whatever the case. Um, yeah, so there's a lot of nice bikes coming back on the market
Hmm.
from.
And a lot of options now, for people of all ages and in all shapes. Like you don't have to be like I know how I'm wired and why I ride, and I need to,
Hmm.
like get my poison out type of thing. But you can ride a bike leisurely and just really enjoy looking at the scenery, and you know what I mean. Just
Yeah,
listen to the birds chirp. Like that's cool too. And
yeah,
they make e-bikes now, right? So you may barely be able to pedal, but on an e-bike, you'll be able to glide through the air and, like give you a sense of mobility and a freedom that before this, this technology advancing to the point that it's accessible by average Joes and Janes, it just wasn't possible. So it's exciting to see those, and I see people all the time, like people twice my age, like out on a bike, and I'm like, this, like you are leading by example in such a way that you don't even realize. It gives
yeah.
me hope for the world.
I know, I know. People are getting healthier, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Healthier, less sick, more enjoyment, happiness,
Yeah,
freedom. So,
yeah,
all right. So, your shop, you got refurbished bikes, you've got new bikes, you've got a mechanic back there. So, you're
yeah.
taking, I guess you're taking, or like, it's the time, well, it's the time to get your bike in for a tune up. Don't leave it too long because
Yeah.
that's where the
Um,
backlog comes, and you don't want to wait for your bike for 3 weeks. So,
Well, and it's nice to have your bike ready to go. Like when, your friend calls you like, hey, I'm off today. I'm going riding at X time. You want to go? Like, you don't want to have to order the part to be able to go on that ride. You want the part to
yeah.
have arrived last week. You want to have done your drivetrain cleaning, make sure everything's spick and span. And when you hit the trail, you want to be able to go. So,
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 how many people do you employ?
That's a good question. We're still small right now, but we're growing. Like I'm
But like
actually
two, like
just
you and
about
somebody
to.
else, or
We've been up to three, and we're about
okay.
to be more, I would say, but
Wow.
it's a bit early to announce. But I'm looking at putting something out shortly. It's yeah, I'm trying to be as open as I can, but at the same time, it's
Well, of
weird, but I
course.
can't
And then
announce it until I.
it's finding somebody with the skills.
And it's right, like any small business has the same challenges.
Hmm.
You know, I'm not immune to that, and I try to work around the clock to work around those challenges. So that's kind of part of the other added value is it's not exactly easy right now to achieve certain things regarding bikes to get certain parts. But if there's one thing I've learned over the years is I'm able to find a creative solution. If maybe not right now, well, probably by tomorrow morning after I sleep on it. So what,
Or you go for a
like,
bike ride. Oh, that's what I'll
yes,
do.
exactly. Well, okay. So I wanted to talk to you about this actually. I'm beyond excited to, for the first time, race in a bicycle event. I've never before. So talk about amateur level. But anyways, like I don't even have the right kit. I would show up in an Under Armour thing, and I don't have clips. I don't have shoes. Like, is that
Don't
okay or?
worry, Alex. I did my event. Okay, I've ridden two races, 200-kilometer races on flat pedals. And people are
Okay,
like, oh
good.
my God, you got flat pedals? I'm like, yeah. And there's a reason why, because first, I didn't have pedals. And last 2 weekends ago, when it was like -5, my bike shoes are too small and my feet would have frozen. So I use my hiking I use my
Yeah,
hiking shoes.
no.
I put like wool insoles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I put booties on top with hot shots in between.
Okay. Okay. Why
And
so
so
much heat?
I
You need
huh?
it, I guess. You need the heat.
Uh,
Sorry, how cold was
well,
it?
it was 100K, so I'm riding for 5 hours.
And it was minus something.
Like -5.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was cold. So my feet did get cold, but they did not freeze to the point where I wanted to cry. So
Right.
so it was just like either or, I just like go for the comfort
Yeah.
in that sense because, I didn't know what to expect. I knew like it was rolling hills. I was
Yeah.
actually in full Gore-Tex because
Okay.
it was that cold and I was going to be out there for a long time and I was
Yeah.
totally comfortable. But,
Okay,
you
good.
know, for this, I mean, flat pedals, whatever. Like, if you go fast, you're going to go fast. Doesn't matter.
I like them. I
Um,
like them. They grip just enough that they hook onto the
yeah,
back of the shoe anyway. Like
yeah.
I always hear like, oh my God, you've never ridden with clips, and I'm so sorry to sin to the cycling etiquette crew, but no, I've not, and I'm cool with
Well,
it.
you're just missing a little bit of the pull up on the pedal, which,
Yeah.
sometimes it makes sense. But, like if you're able to climb a hill efficiently or economically, I mean, that's a little bit
Yeah.
extra percentage that you're missing.
Right.
Um,
I'll go
but,
for it. I'll get my
you
extra
know,
percentage, Sylvie.
yeah, yeah. But don't test them on race day.
No, no, because I'll get stuck. Like yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you'll
My
fall over.
friends
You
are
won't be
all.
able to clip out. And
No,
the
exactly.
other thing is if you're gonna race first time, I mean, you've been in a pack, I'm sure, a group ride, you're gonna
Mhm.
group, so you just be careful, be respectful.
Yeah. I literally need to go read up on etiquette, like what not to do, because I probably would just do it not knowing not to do that. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
um, but so what if it's raining? What do you wear? Because it's not looking like it's a dry one.
It's probably gonna snow. Snow is better than rain.
Oh.
Um, I am going to watch myself. Like, I'll bring a heavier jacket to put on that's more waterproof. I will I might even go out and find a raincoat. Like I have my heavier
Hmm.
Gore-Tex that I had before.
Yeah.
Um, I'm doing 70K, so I'm not going to be out there as long as before.
Okay.
So, I mean, like 70K can still be pretty miserable when you're miserable.
If you're,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Okay.
if you have fenders, I would put them
Oh yeah,
on.
because I'm gonna get roosted, eh? Yeah.
Well, no, your ass is going to get wet.
Yeah, that's what I meant by roosted. I
Yeah.
don't know all the
Oh,
lingo
roostered.
like down rooster. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's me in
And
a
it's always
nutshell.
nice for
I'll
the person
always
behind you.
that's it. That's it. Yes. I ride. Okay, it's funny you say that because I ride solo all the time. So I it's not even a thing. You know what I mean? I've ridden in group packs with motorcycles so much, and I totally get how to like what the proper riding etiquette is. But I almost
Yeah.
never ride gravel with anyone, and so that's why I'm asking you all these newbie questions because I legit
Oh
don't
boy.
know.
Well, I would just say like hang out at the back and just watch up front.
Okay.
Because you don't want to half wheel other people that's like riding like this really closely like this.
Yeah.
Like other bike, your bike, half wheeling, you don't because
Yeah. Yeah.
if you touch, you don't. So it's, you
Yeah.
know, just like motorcycling, you want to keep
Yeah.
a good distance, drafting distance, but not cross your wheels. That's the only thing that I would like really worry
Yeah.
about and people get
Okay.
sticky about.
Well, that's
Because
common
that's
sense, though.
dangerous.
You don't. No, 100%. You crash, or you make somebody else crash, or both.
Yeah.
Um, but okay. Yeah. Okay. So just being like situationally aware of your bike and body type thing.
That's probably the biggest thing because
Hmm.
people don't know and um, can get themselves in trouble. Um, what
Now,
else?
is most of it gravel? Like, or is some sections of it cyclocross and off road,
No, it's not
or is
off road. It's all hard
okay?
packed gravel. As far as
It's all
I
hard
know,
pack.
I don't. I've
Oh
never
my
been on
god.
it. I have no idea. I
Okay.
miss. I just like. I've got a different bike I'm riding this time, so we'll see.
Same.
It's a
It's my first year.
faster, specialized cross bike, so
Yeah.
it'll be faster rolling on this type of road.
Are you comfortable on it?
Yeah, I went out on last Saturday on it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, it's my
Okay.
girlfriend's. It's not mine, so I have to bring it back Saturday afternoon. I'm like, I hope you don't mind
Ooh.
it's dirty. She's like, no, just I just want my bike back.
Right. That's awesome. Good for you. Good for you.
So
Um, okay. And last question, as I feel like I shouldn't be interviewing you, but I almost am. But
maybe I should have you interview me.
what so my tire pressures go up to 85. What should I set them if I'm going to be on gravel all day in
Ooh,
near zero
that's
weather,
a
right?
big question. You don't want
Mm,
any flats. I'm not like a big pro about this. Like I know people talk about tire pressure. So if you have 80, I mean it's fast rolling, 60. I mean you can always ask. That's what I'll do. Scooch around,
okay.
see what everybody else is. What kind of pressure are you running today?
Yeah, and then like average out the answers because you're going to get a bunch of skewed answers, I
But
think.
you know, like it's not going to be potholes from what I hear.
Yeah.
It's pretty, so you don't have to worry
Okay.
about that. So probably maybe I don't know. I'm just guessing. Probably on the higher side, so it rolls fast. It's harder packed
I think
gravel. So
I'm
yeah,
thinking 70. 70 will be a
yeah.
good
All
I
right.
was well, oh yeah.
I know we're going to see each other this weekend, but for everybody else, where can they find you? And like maybe making a booking to come and see your shop, or do you just walk in, or do you need a tune up? Where can
Yeah,
people find you?
so great question. We are by appointment only because we're just still at that stage. So we'll give
Right?
you the utmost time and attention while you're here. But please contact us whichever way you'd like. Our website www.houseofbikes.ca. We're on Instagram, House of Bikes Canada, Facebook as well, House of Bikes, YouTube, House of Bikes. So it's just House of Bikes, and
Us?
you'll find us. Send us a message, make an appointment, and we can see what we have in stock for you.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, listeners. So if you're local and you're listening to this, it's time to go out to VARS and check out Alex at House of Bikes. Don't forget to follow them everywhere and follow the podcast at Secrets from the Saddle podcast and myself, and have yourself an amazing day. And we're going to take this conversation offline because I'm always like, okay, we don't want to hear about tire pressure right now.
It's too
and you
geeky
guys
at
have
this
yourself an amazing day. Thanks a lot, Alex.
Thanks for having me, Sylvie. All the best. See you Saturday.